Could a height actually be impossible to reach? I just built something that is so huge you can barely even see the camera into this thing. Berghaming. And off we go to start Q1. Ashland gets us started as you probably would expect at this point after their entire season has just been nothing but bad finish after bad finish. Ashland has lost the most spots out of anybody, if I'm remembering that correctly, obviously. Didn't get much time to look, but I think they did. Yeah, from 2nd to 13th, then like 8th and 6th to 2 16th place finishes in a row. Hasn't scored anything since the very first round of the season, has this specific marble. And let's see how they will do here. 32-13 to start things off. And now talk about another marble in Boston here, who was at a very bad season as this one. But arguably, they're the best at this track, so I wouldn't be surprised if they turned it all around here. Teammate Kirby has 2 solid finishes and then 2 terrible finishes, to say the least. They've just had 2 mid-pack finishes and then nothing in round 3. That's Boston. And let's see what they do here again. 32-13 is what they had to beat if they want to get ahead of Ashland. And this is not going to happen, despite it being easily their best track of all of them. And I suppose Braintree, they've never finished off the podium in any of these 3 times since this track has been featured. In any of the seasons it's appeared, actually. So, yeah, considering they went 1st, 2nd, 3rd, I don't think it's going to be 4th unless Boston can pull for Miracle. But anyway, if there's a track to pull for Miracle in 1 lap and go from last to 1st in just a single lap, this is definitely the one that's it. Now, East Weymouth. It's also not had a very good season. Teammate Redcliffe scored more points last round than Weymouth had the entire first 6. And it looks like East Weymouth might be on track to do something even crazier here. And now, here comes Kyoto, who, despite teammate Hyogo having 2 DNFs in Q1, both times qualifying last and pretty much just getting stuck on the same thing, Kyoto, they're the one that's last in the individual standings right now. With finishes of 14th, 19th, and 15th. It's really just not been any fun for Suzuki this season, which I suppose they're just imitating what they did last season, honestly. And let's see what Kyoto can do here. Can they turn it around? Kind of. And now Benito, who has struggled immensely as well this season. All the bottom 4 in the individual standings. If I remember correctly, these first 5 who win might be entirely bottom 5 in the individual standings. I don't remember it that well. No, it's not, because Tudu has less points than East Weymouth. But even then, I think it's still 5 of the bottom 6 individually, obviously. You didn't see it update at all last round, so yeah. That was also the last round where you won't see it update. So for the last 2 rounds in a row, it will. And let's see what Benito does here. It's worse than Boston. And now, Sproston. Things are really looking up for Norwich after Greenville got 2nd place and the Best Gainer award. Last time at Cheerlead's Turnpike, Sproston dominated this race last season. Got fastest lap, the win, maybe Best Gainer if I remember correctly. I don't think that happened. But even then, they are looking to demolish the field once again here and continue Norwich. And having a great uptick in performance here after their first 6 rounds are virtually nothing to write home about, and it's 1st. And now, Desio, who has not qualified outside of the bottom 2 since round 1. Monza as a whole have not qualified outside of the bottom 2 since round 3, which is insane. And Desio, as for them, they have not qualified outside of the bottom 2 since the very first race, as I stated. And they have not finished a qualifying lap, nor have Monza finished a qualifying lap at all in Q1 since round 5. Pretty crazy. They have been top 3 and bottom 5 in every single qualifying so far, and needless to say, they're going to continue that streak of being bottom 2 in Q1 here. 37.94. Oof. That's for Desio. That is over 7.5 seconds behind what Sproston just put up. And now, Hamburg, looking to impress the home crowd and do literally anything than Desio just did at the bar. Aside from, I'd say, Sproston and, East Weymouth. Aside from those 2, it's very low right now. And they are looking to beat Sproston here. It might not even be that hard. Let's see, can they do it? Nah, they started a little bit there and actually fell to 4th. And it wasn't even 4th, it was actually 5th for Hamburg. I will eat my words from what I just said. As I said that incorrectly, I suppose. Now, Incidong has not had a very fun season. Gangnam, their season has been the epitome of fun. After they got rounds the last round and then 3 extremely mid-pack but still great finishes beforehand. Incidong did pretty well last night at home speed, but the first 2 rounds of the game was nothing to write home about. 13 to 15. So, despite all that, have somehow scored in every single round. And will that streak snap here? Possibly. And now, Marble in a similar vein to Incidong Miltis, who did worse than them in their first 2 rounds. Did completely terrible. Didn't even get any points from either of them. That turned it all around with a pole position and a second place finish at home speed. And teammate Los Angeles has had both goes for this team so far in the second half, and worked out to a pretty good qualifying and an awful no points on race day score both times. Coincidentally, if you really think about it, St. Clair, they've only had 2 good finishes this entire season, but still they're almost in the top half of the standings in their teams. And now Paris, France, who has a lot to live up to, admittedly, in this round after they qualified 18th and finished 7th in round 3, and then qualified 3rd, finished 14th in round 5 to bring their spots gained versus lost in this entire season right back down to 0. And then after Toulouse, who has struggled quite a bit in their first 3 rounds, coincidentally pulled off what Ampang couldn't and won at their hometown. Well, pulled off what Ampang couldn't the round before that happened, coincidentally. And won at their home track with pole position the fastest lap to boot, pulling Los Angeles from round 3. And this looks terrible. Knocks out Desio, and they're probably next to be knocked out of Paris, France. And now Seminole, who has 2 finishes, well, of double digits. St. Clair as a whole started with 3rd place for both teammates, and then slacked off a little bit. Specifically the next 2 rounds after that. And Seminole capped off round 3 and 4 in their second fifth of the season, I suppose you could say it. It was a goose egg, and it that last finish, and it looks like they might be getting another one of those here. Let's see what time they actually get, though. Not as bad as I think it is. 33:56, actually. And to the surprise, absolutely nobody Paris France joins Desio in elimination. And to the surprise, absolutely nobody for Richland, they join Preston in guaranteed safety. And now let's see, will Kyoto or Maharashtra be the next one to be safe? I would guess it's going to be Kyoto, because I think Maharashtra, with how terrible all their qualifyings have been, and how bad this one's looking like it's going to be as well, is not well-suited to Q2 at all. I don't think they've done... Yeah, they've definitely not done it at all this season, and needless to say, I wouldn't be surprised if this is even worse than Desio. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just stop it, too. They don't, but it is worse than Desio by almost 2 seconds. And now, Rockpaw, who has had pretty good finishes in all 3 of the rounds, coming from pretty low positions on starting mid to pretty solid finishes in the rounds. And Malapolska, I suppose they balanced that out with their 3rd place at Qualidome, but then followed it up by not scoring at all in the last round. And now, Rockpaw, let's see what they can do here. It looks like another terrible qualifying. But needless to say, if there's a place with big gaps, it's this one. And they're out. And now Creek, who entered that part very terribly from the looks of things. I suppose very terribly sums up Cupertino's entire second half so far. California, 2 last places in a row. Creek, dead last the round before. It's been 3 in a row with Cupertino who've gotten nothing but last places on the board after. They started so well in the first 2 rounds, did very mid the next 2, and then 3 bottoming out rounds in a row. Unbelievable. I think it's been that bad for them recently. And they're out in Q1 here. And Creek, I wouldn't call it a certainty for a 4th dead last row to come their team's way here, but I'd say at the very least a 4th squirrel round in a row is coming their way after that. And now Holbrook, let's see what they can do here. They've arguably been the qualifying kings of the season. Just ignore that first round. And let's see what Holbrook has in store for us here. Quality looks very blurry. I apologize in advance for that, but if it did. And they're out as well! And I suppose now is the best time possible to Remind the remaining marbles in Q1, who have not had their lap run yet for them, or who have not run their lap, I suppose is better words for that, of one very specific thing. You have to finish before 34 seconds, and 33.99 will not cut it if you want to make it to Q2. Oh, Kowloon hit that terribly. And yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to finish before 34 seconds, unless they go lightning fast, and yeah, it's just not going to happen. They almost went to 36. And now, is it Hot Ham or Hot Ham? I don't know, but I'm just going to keep calling it Hot Ham until I can get that out. I don't really use Google Translate that much, so don't get mad at me for that, but here goes Hot Ham. Ever since they went scoreless in the first round, they've been amazing, even if it's only been 2 rounds for them, and since that scoreless one, and 4 for Romeo. And they hit that set of pegs terribly. And, yep, they are definitely not going to make Q2 here. The big teams here continue to crack out of the pressure, and they go last 41 seconds. Oh my god. And Hot Ham, they are really, my goodness, maybe I should start calling them Hot Ham going forward. But even if I don't, that does not change the fact that they are nearly 11 seconds down on what Sprouson's time was. And now Jaya, 2 17th place finishes in their 2 rounds before the one where they popped off and won with fastest lap. And second qualifying just to net 28 points. And all their points so far this season. And it's looking like they're coming back for more. And it's still not enough for Q2. And now Vermont, after all these second half teams, they gotta be thinking, are you kidding me with how badly they botched every single chance they had pretty much. Out of all of the top teams overall, only Seminole has been able to book a ticket to Q2 here. And now Vermont finished second here last season, so shouldn't be that hard, right? Okay, let's see what they do. So far, this is not looking good, actually. Yeah, they're gonna have to go like rapid fire, and I don't think it's gonna happen. It's not. And they are out. And St. Albans, I suppose, at this point, they're familiar with terrible qualifying, so that's not that surprising, but still, there has to be some random tick that hit the course for all of those teams, except for Stanford that won the second half, to miss out on Q2. And now for lap 1 of 3 of Q2, which, to say the least, at that rate, I don't even want to do anymore. I'm sorry for those words coming out of my mouth, but anyway, East Wings got by for the lead. I suppose if there's, for those teams who went the second half of Q1, if there's a place to make spots up tomorrow, it's going to be in those phones. And that's going to go all. Anyway, East Wings really turning their team season around and their team title defense around. He's going to lead after the end of the first lap here in Q2. And now, lap number 2. Yeah, home crowd's not going to like what they just saw having a hamburger there. Like Strapson, I expected to see none of this. Oh wait, they do get going again. Okay, never mind. This is not too surprising, but even then they fell to 7th in the first lap. They're back to 9th now. Benito, they somehow get stuck on that piece. And they're somehow leading after all of that. And here we go. They are going to lead Q2 heading into the final lap of it. And now Benito, they have gone from last to first in just 1 lap here. Can they hold it and get 3 points? Leon did more than solid in the last round to avenge the 5 rounds before it. Oh, what happened in that? But anyway, is that Incy that are leading? I think it is. Let's see who comes out of it. Benito exits with the lead. 2 and 7. No, actually made a second. I apologize. That is insane. And Benito is going to claim pole position here at Berghaming. Beyond unbelievable. I know. And speaking of hamburger, I suppose, they're still going to finish it up here in Q2.